When the world isn't watching, when the noise dies down, and when every mask falls off, there exists a man unlike any other. A man who doesn't crave validation, who walks a path that no one else dares to walk. He's not the loudest in the room, not the one seeking attention or approval. Yet, he's the one who carries an unshakable aura, calm, mysterious, and detached. This man is the Sigma male. But who is he, really, when no one's watching? When the world isn't there to judge him, when the spotlight fades, and he's left alone with his thoughts, what does the Sigma male become? Let's step behind the curtain and discover the hidden world of Sigma males, their solitude, their emotions, their struggles, and their deepest truths. This is who Sigma males really are when no one's watching. 1. The lone philosopher. When Sigma males are alone, they transform into philosophers of their own existence. While most people use solitude to escape boredom, Sigmas use it to interrogate their reality. They think deeply about their choices, their failures, their future, and the very meaning of life itself. In silence, their mind becomes their greatest battlefield and their most trusted ally. They don't need distractions, because solitude sharpens them. This is when their self-awareness multiplies. They analyze human behavior, their mistakes, their victories, and even the way the world operates. To a Sigma, loneliness isn't emptiness, it's energy. It's the rare space where their mind roams freely, unrestricted by social expectations. Most people fear silence because it exposes their insecurities. Sigma males crave it, because it reveals truth. When no one's watching, a Sigma male doesn't just exist, he reflects. He learns from every pain, every memory, and every doubt. This is where his wisdom grows, where his calm confidence is forged, and where his mysterious aura originates. He's not detached from the world, he's simply too aware of it. 2. The silent strategist. In solitude, Sigma males are not idle, they are planning, even if it doesn't look like it. Behind that calm exterior is a mind constantly running simulations, predicting outcomes, and strategizing his next move. He's not motivated by fame or applause but by mastery. Every goal, every decision, every step is calculated, not for attention, but for purpose. Unlike others who act impulsively to prove something, Sigma males act intelligently to progress silently. They believe in moving like shadows, unseen, unpredictable, and unstoppable. When others chase shortcuts, Sigmas are crafting blueprints for longevity. They understand that the best way to win is to prepare in silence and strike only when it truly matters. This private strategy time is sacred to them. Whether it's building a business, improving themselves, or simply restructuring their priorities, they operate in mental stillness. And when they finally act, the world sees only the result, not the countless hours of invisible work behind it. When no one's watching, Sigma males are architects of their destiny, constructing futures in silence that later shake the world. 3. The emotional minimalist. Sigma males don't hate emotions, they just understand them differently. When they're alone, they allow themselves to feel everything they suppress in public. The world often mistakes their stoicism for coldness, but in truth, they feel deeply. They just refuse to let emotions control them. Alone, a Sigma processes heartbreak, betrayal, and disappointment quietly. No drama, no tears for show, just honest reflection. They don't drown in feelings, they study them. To them, pain is data, and emotions are signals meant to be decoded, not displayed. This emotional minimalism gives them control. They know that reacting to everything makes you predictable, and predictability kills power. So they master the art of being calm under chaos. When no one's watching, they feel, they heal, and they rebuild without the world ever noticing. It's not that they don't care, it's that they care too intelligently. 4. The observer of humanity. When left alone, Sigma males often turn their gaze outward, not physically, but intellectually. They observe humanity from a distance, analyzing the games people play, the patterns of social behavior, and the illusions people live under. They study others the way scientists study stars, curiously, but never attached. This detachment gives them a unique psychological advantage. They understand motives, lies, desires, and insecurities more clearly than those immersed in them. They can see through manipulation, social hierarchies, and fake relationships because they've learned to stand outside of them. Sigmas see what most people miss: the quiet desperation and loud confidence, the fear behind arrogance, the pain behind smiles. That's why people find them intimidating. It's not that they're trying to dominate anyone, it's that they can see through them. When no one's watching, Sigma males are silent observers of human nature, dissecting the very fabric of society from the shadows. 5. The self-healer. While others depend on others for validation or comfort, Sigma males are their own healers. They've been through storms that broke most people, but instead of complaining, they rebuilt themselves quietly. When they're alone, they revisit their scars, not with regret, but with respect. Each one tells a story of resilience, of survival. Sigma males don't fear pain, they use it. They know pain reveals character, and healing yourself builds indestructible confidence. Whether it's through meditation, solitude, or creative expression, they turn emotional wounds into wisdom. They don't seek sympathy because they've learned that the world only respects strength, not suffering. And so, when no one's watching, Sigma males do the hardest thing any man can do: they heal themselves without witnesses, without applause, and without shortcuts. That's why when they return to the world, they look calm, unshaken, and powerful. Because behind that quiet stare is a man who has fought his battles alone, and won. 6. The man who values silence over noise. Silence is not just an absence of sound to the Sigma male, it's a form of clarity. When he's alone, the quiet isn't awkward, it's sacred. In that silence, he can hear things most people can't: the rhythm of his thoughts, the whispers of his intuition, the echo of his past decisions. He doesn't crave constant entertainment, background music, or chatter. The Sigma male thrives in mental stillness because it allows him to reset his focus and rebuild his internal world. In silence, he recharges. The modern world is a circus of endless opinions, gossip, and digital noise, everyone screaming to be seen, to be heard. But Sigmas don't compete in that chaos. They prefer to step back, disconnect, and observe. To them, silence is strength. It's what keeps them centered when everyone else is restless. This is why Sigma males often appear mysterious or distant. They don't speak just to fill space, they speak only when their words have weight. And because of that restraint, when they do speak, people listen. The power of their voice doesn't come from volume, it comes from rarity. When no one's watching, the Sigma male sits with silence like an old friend, comfortable, healing, and wise. It's in that silence that he builds the mental armor he wears in public. 7. The master of self-discipline. When the world isn't watching, Sigma males practice one thing most people avoid: self-discipline. They know that real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want, it comes from mastering yourself. Every great Sigma has routines and rituals that keep him sharp, whether it's working out alone, reading late at night, or learning new skills quietly without posting about it online. This discipline is invisible to the outside world. People see the calm, composed Sigma male and assume he was born that way. What they don't see are the thousands of small choices he makes in private, choosing focus over distraction, consistency over comfort, growth over laziness. While others wait for motivation, Sigma males build habits that keep moving them forward even when they don't feel like it. Their private discipline is their power source. When no one's around, there's no applause, no validation, only the quiet satisfaction of knowing they're building themselves. Over time, this discipline turns into a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes their identity. When no one's watching, Sigma males are training themselves into men who can't be broken, distracted, or controlled. Because in their solitude, they're not wasting time, they're forging character. 8. The thinker who questions everything. When left alone, Sigma males begin to question everything: the system, success, society, even their own beliefs. They refuse to accept things just because that's how it's always been done. Their mind doesn't rest until it understands the why behind everything. This relentless curiosity is what sets them apart from the alpha or beta archetypes. They don't lead or follow blindly, they think independently. While others follow trends or social rules to fit in, the Sigma quietly examines whether those rules even make sense. Why should someone's value depend on wealth or status? Why must success be loud? Why does love require validation? These questions might sound rebellious, but for the Sigma male, they're essential. This mindset makes him a true nonconformist thinker. He doesn't rebel for attention, he questions for understanding. And that's why Sigma males often come up with ideas or perspectives that change lives, because they're willing to go deeper than surface logic. When no one's watching, Sigma males are philosophers, breaking down the illusions that control people's minds. They destroy blind obedience and rebuild truth, one question at a time. 9. The man who feels everything but shows nothing. Sigma males are not emotionless, they're simply emotionally private. When no one's watching, the Sigma male feels everything: love, loneliness, disappointment, even fear, but he processes it internally. Unlike most people who express emotions outwardly for validation, Sigma males analyze their feelings quietly until they make sense of them. They might seem emotionally detached, but that's only because they refuse to perform their emotions. They don't believe in public vulnerability or emotional oversharing. For a Sigma, pain is not a performance, it's a private lesson. He learns from heartbreak instead of dramatizing it. He turns sadness into motivation, rejection into wisdom, and loneliness into peace. This emotional restraint is part of what gives him his mysterious aura. You can never quite read a Sigma male, and that unpredictability unsettles people. But what others see as coldness is actually control. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he cares quietly, intelligently, and selectively. When no one's watching, the Sigma male lets his emotions flow freely, but only for himself. He processes them, accepts them, and then buries them beneath his unbreakable calm. 10. The man who builds in the shadows. Sigma males believe that true growth happens in silence. When they're alone, they're not wasting time, they're building empires in the dark. Whether it's working on a new idea, learning a new skill, or improving their body, every move is made quietly. They don't announce their goals, because they know talk is cheap. They'd rather let results speak. This silent hustle is what separates them from the crowd. While others post about their grind, the Sigma grinds without posting. He doesn't need validation, he needs progress. He understands that every big success is born in obscurity. That's why he's not afraid of being underestimated or ignored. He knows that one day, when he finally steps forward, people won't understand how he became so good, so confident, so powerful. But the truth is simple, he was building while no one was watching. Every quiet night, every lonely morning, every unseen effort stacked into something unstoppable. When no one's watching, Sigma males are architects of unseen success. They plant the seeds in the dark that will one day grow into forests of victory. 11. The man who values freedom above everything. For the Sigma male, freedom is not a luxury, it's a necessity. When no one's watching, this is the one value he will never compromise on. Freedom to think, to move, to act without permission, this is the heartbeat of a Sigma's existence. He would rather walk alone in uncertainty than live comfortably under someone else's control. That's what most people don't understand about him, his solitude isn't loneliness, it's independence. Society rewards conformity. It tells you what to believe, what to buy, what to want. But the Sigma rejects all of it. When he's alone, he reminds himself that the only way to live truthfully is to live on his own terms. He doesn't measure success by wealth or followers. To him, success is waking up every day free from obligations that betray his peace. This obsession with freedom is why Sigma males often seem unpredictable. They can vanish from social circles, quit jobs suddenly, or change directions overnight. It's not recklessness, it's self-preservation. The moment they feel trapped, they'll break every chain around them. When no one's watching, Sigma males are men who'd rather risk everything for freedom than live safely in captivity. And that's why their souls remain untamed, no matter how the world tries to control them. 12. The thinker who fears mediocrity. When Sigma males are alone, one thing haunts them more than failure: mediocrity. They can live with losing, they can survive rejection, but they can't accept a life without meaning. Deep down, they carry an inner fire, a voice that whispers, "You were meant for more." This is what keeps them restless. This is why they don't settle easily for average jobs, average relationships, or average lives. They know most people are sleepwalking through life, doing what they're told, chasing temporary pleasure, and avoiding discomfort. But the Sigma refuses that path. When he's alone, he reflects on whether he's truly living or merely existing. Every quiet night is a conversation with himself. Am I growing or decaying? Am I becoming stronger or stagnant? This fear of mediocrity fuels their discipline and ambition. They're not competing with others, they're competing with their own potential. Every improvement, every lesson learned, every silent win brings them closer to their ideal self. When no one's watching, Sigma males push themselves beyond comfort. Because to them, a wasted life is the ultimate tragedy. They'd rather die chasing greatness than live comfortably in mediocrity. 13. The protector of his inner circle. While Sigma males are known for solitude, they're not completely detached. They may have few connections, but those few mean everything. When no one's watching, Sigma males are deeply loyal protectors of their inner circle, family, a close friend, or a partner they trust. Their love isn't loud, but it's real, grounded, and unshakable. They might not express emotions openly, but their actions reveal everything. They'll go to war for the ones they care about, silently guarding them from harm or betrayal. They don't need to say, "I've got your back," they prove it when things fall apart. This quiet loyalty is why people who truly know a Sigma never forget him. However, the Sigma's circle is incredibly small. He's cautious about who enters it because he knows trust is sacred. Betray him once, and he's gone forever. No confrontation, no drama, just silence. When no one's watching, the Sigma male's loyalty is his moral code. He doesn't give it easily, but once he does, it's for life. That's why when he walks away from someone, it's never out of hate, it's because they disrespected the rarest thing he offers, genuine trust. 14. The man who's not afraid of solitude, but of losing himself. People often say Sigma males love solitude, and that's true. But deep down, even they have a fear that lurks beneath the surface, the fear of losing themselves in isolation. They know solitude can sharpen the mind, but it can also harden the heart. That's why when no one's watching, the Sigma constantly checks himself, to make sure that independence doesn't turn into emotional numbness. He understands that solitude is powerful only when it's balanced. Too much of it can make you disconnected from humanity. So, he keeps small reminders of life's beauty, music, art, a long drive, or a simple conversation with someone genuine. These moments keep him grounded. The Sigma's challenge isn't loneliness, it's maintaining humanity while walking alone. He doesn't want to become robotic or emotionless. That's why when he's alone, he quietly nourishes his inner world, through reflection, creativity, and nature. When no one's watching, Sigma males aren't avoiding the world, they're making sure they don't lose the parts of themselves that make them human. Their solitude is both a weapon and a test of balance. 15. The man who doesn't need validation. When Sigma males are alone, they remind themselves that approval is a trap. They've seen how people chase validation like oxygen, counting likes, followers, compliments, and opinions to measure their worth. But Sigmas have learned that needing validation is the fastest way to lose power. So, they train their mind to be self-sufficient. They don't dress to impress, they don't speak to please, and they don't seek permission to be themselves. Every decision they make comes from inner conviction, not external approval. That's what makes them so intimidating, because they're immune to manipulation. When no one's watching, they're brutally honest with themselves. They'll ask, "Am I doing this because I want to, or because I want to be seen?" That self-reflection keeps them authentic in a world built on performance. Sigma males live by a rare principle: if you can't validate yourself, no one else's validation will ever be enough. And that's why they move through life unbothered, untouchable, and entirely their own. When no one's watching, Sigma males are free, not because they have everything, but because they need nothing from anyone. 16. The man who turns pain into power. When no one's watching, Sigma males are not running from their pain, they're studying it. Every wound, every betrayal, every setback becomes a piece of data. They don't dwell on why me, they ask, what now? While most people use pain as an excuse to stop, the Sigma uses it as fuel to evolve. He knows that life isn't meant to be painless, it's meant to be purposeful. In his solitude, he revisits the moments that broke him. Not to relive them, but to extract lessons others overlook. Pain has shaped him into a different kind of man, one who no longer fears struggle. The Sigma understands that comfort weakens you, but suffering sharpens you. So, he embraces his scars. They remind him that he's already survived everything that was supposed to destroy him. He doesn't post about his pain, doesn't talk about his trauma, he transforms it. Every silent night of reflection, every quiet moment of acceptance adds another layer of strength to his character. And that's why when he walks into a room, you can feel his power. It's not arrogance, it's the energy of a man who turned pain into wisdom. When no one's watching, Sigma males don't escape from pain, they evolve through it. They become living proof that suffering, when understood, can become the purest source of power. 17. The man who keeps his dreams private. The Sigma male's dreams are sacred ground. He doesn't share them with everyone because he knows how fragile vision can be in a world full of doubters. When no one's watching, he's dreaming quietly, building silently, and preparing privately. While others talk about what they'll do, the Sigma stays silent until his actions speak louder than any announcement ever could. He's learned that most people don't want you to succeed, they want you to stay predictable. So he guards his ambitions carefully. His notebooks, his thoughts, his future plans, these are locked away behind a wall of self-control. It's not secrecy for the sake of mystery, it's protection for the sake of progress. When he's alone, he visualizes every detail of his goals, how it feels, how it looks, how it will change his life. He knows the universe rewards those who quietly prepare rather than loudly declare. That's why his victories seem sudden to others, but he knows they've been in the making for years. When no one's watching, the Sigma male is quietly crafting a reality that the world isn't ready for yet. His dreams are silent storms, gathering power until it's time to strike. 18. The man who walks away without explaining. When a Sigma male walks away, he does it quietly, and permanently. No drama, no long explanations, no final words. He believes that the moment he needs to explain his worth or justify his boundaries, the relationship is already dead. When no one's watching, this is what defines him, his ability to detach without bitterness. The Sigma doesn't believe in burning bridges, he just stops walking across them. He's not afraid to outgrow people, environments, or habits that no longer serve his peace. He knows that growth demands space, and sometimes that space is found only in distance. So when he disappears, it's not to punish anyone, it's to protect himself. People misinterpret this as arrogance, but it's actually self-respect. The Sigma male knows that time and energy are sacred currencies, and wasting them on negativity bankrupts the soul. So, instead of arguing, he leaves quietly and reinvests his focus into his mission. When no one's watching, the Sigma male practices one of the hardest arts in existence, walking away without hate, and moving on without noise. Because true strength doesn't need to prove, it just moves. 19. The man who studies his own mind. Few people understand themselves as deeply as Sigma males do. When they're alone, they don't escape into distractions, they study their own psychology. They ask themselves questions others never dare to. Why do I react this way? What do I truly want? What fears still control me? This mental self-audit gives them an edge no external education can. They understand that the mind is both a weapon and a prison, and they're determined to master it. That's why they often read psychology, philosophy, or meditate in solitude. They're constantly rewiring their thinking, identifying emotional triggers, and refining their mental focus. Most people avoid their thoughts because they're afraid of what they might find. But Sigma males confront their inner chaos head-on. They know that you can't conquer the world until you've conquered your own mind. This is why they're so calm under pressure, they've already wrestled with their inner storms. When no one's watching, Sigma males are not distracted by noise, they're decoding the mechanics of their own consciousness. That's what makes them mentally bulletproof, because they understand the battlefield inside their own head better than anyone else ever could. 20. The man who is never truly lonely. To outsiders, the Sigma male looks isolated, someone who spends too much time alone, cut off from society. But the truth is, he's never truly lonely. He's comfortable in his own presence. When no one's watching, the Sigma is often lost in thought, in creativity, in introspection. He finds companionship in ideas, in dreams, in purpose. He doesn't crave people to fill silence because his mind is already alive with meaning. Loneliness happens when you can't stand being with yourself, solitude happens when you enjoy it. Sigma males live in the latter. They know that their journey is personal, and that not everyone is meant to walk beside them. Sure, there are nights when even they feel the weight of isolation, but instead of running from it, they use it to deepen self-understanding. They find beauty in solitude, because it's where they discover who they really are, away from performance and pretense. When no one's watching, Sigma males are surrounded not by people, but by purpose. And that kind of companionship lasts longer than any crowd ever could. 21. The man who finds strength in stillness. When no one's watching, the Sigma male becomes completely still. He doesn't need chaos to feel alive, nor constant movement to feel important. In that stillness, when the world is silent and his phone is turned off, he connects with something deeper than ambition. He listens to his intuition. It's in these quiet moments that his biggest decisions are made, his greatest ideas are born, and his inner peace is restored. The Sigma understands what few men do. Stillness isn't weakness, it's power under control. Most people are addicted to motion because silence forces them to confront their truth. The Sigma, however, welcomes silence like an old friend. He doesn't drown his thoughts in noise, he observes them, studies them, and channels them into clarity. This stillness is his weapon. It's how he recharges his energy, regulates his emotions, and maintains his composure when everyone else is reacting. That's why he seems unshakable in chaos. He's trained his mind in silence. In that stillness, he finds not emptiness but presence. He reconnects with his values, his mission, his direction. When no one's watching, the Sigma male sits in quiet strength, knowing that stillness is the birthplace of both wisdom and power. 22. The man who lives by his own code. When you strip away the noise, the Sigma male is a man guided by an internal compass that doesn't bend for trends or approval. He doesn't follow rules just because they exist, he follows principles that mean something to him. His code is self-written, forged through experience, pain, and reflection. It's not always easy to live by, but that's exactly why he respects it. When no one's watching, he holds himself accountable. Integrity, for him, isn't performance, it's a standard. He doesn't cut corners even when no one would notice, because he's not doing it for validation. He does it because that's who he is. The Sigma's moral code might not fit society's mold, but it's pure in its authenticity. He doesn't need approval to know he's right with himself. This personal code is what makes him unpredictable yet consistent. You can't control him because he answers to something deeper than authority, his own conscience. When people try to manipulate him, they fail, because the Sigma can't be guilt or bribed out of alignment. When no one's watching, he's not asking what's popular, he's asking what's right. That's what separates him from the crowd and why his loyalty, once earned, is unshakable. 23. The man who sees through illusions. The Sigma male has a rare ability to see through the masks people wear and the illusions society sells. When he's alone, he reflects on how much of the modern world is built on pretense, how people chase status, validation, and approval, yet end up feeling hollow. He doesn't judge them, he just refuses to participate in the performance. This awareness gives him a kind of spiritual clarity. He sees how fear drives behavior, how ego drives decisions, and how distraction hides truth. The Sigma's detachment isn't cold, it's conscious. He's not against society, he simply sees through it. He understands that freedom isn't rebellion, it's awareness. So, while others lose themselves in chasing trends, gossip, or comparison, the Sigma stays grounded in reality. He questions narratives, rejects manipulation, and values truth even when it's uncomfortable. That's why he often feels out of place, because he's operating on a higher level of perception. When no one's watching, the Sigma male is peeling back the layers of illusion, searching for authenticity in a world full of actors. He'd rather stand alone in truth than blend in with lies. 24. The man who protects his inner world. Deep down, the Sigma male is a guardian, not of people, but of peace. He's fiercely protective of his inner world, because he knows that once your peace is stolen, everything else collapses. When no one's watching, he carefully filters who gets access to his energy. He doesn't let just anyone close, because he understands how draining the wrong presence can be. He's built invisible boundaries around his soul, boundaries of self-respect, focus, and calm. And maintaining them requires constant self-awareness. That's why he's selective with conversations, friendships, and environments. It's not arrogance, it's preservation. The Sigma understands that true strength isn't about fighting external wars, it's about mastering internal balance. Every day, he defends that peace from negativity, noise, and manipulation. When he feels chaos creeping in, he retreats, not to escape, but to reset. When no one's watching, the Sigma male guards his mental fortress, ensuring that no outside influence can control his emotions or disrupt his purpose. Peace, to him, isn't a luxury, it's his ultimate form of power. 25. The man who knows his worth without needing validation. Perhaps the most defining trait of the Sigma male appears when no one's watching, his complete detachment from validation. He doesn't post to prove. He doesn't chase to be seen. He knows his value whether the world acknowledges it or not. This quiet confidence isn't ego, it's mastery. While most people depend on external approval to feel important, the Sigma has learned to generate self-worth from within. He's validated by effort, not attention. By growth, not applause. By impact, not recognition. When he looks in the mirror, he doesn't see someone who needs to be seen, he sees someone who chooses to stay unseen until necessary. This is what makes the Sigma so intimidating, his value doesn't fluctuate with perception. You can't shame him, flatter him, or control him, because his identity isn't built on opinions. He knows who he is in the dark, and that's all that matters. When no one's watching, the Sigma male stands tall in silence, knowing that his worth is self-defined, his path is self-chosen, and his destiny is self-made. Conclusion. When the world goes quiet and the lights go out, that's when the real Sigma male appears, not the archetype, not the meme, but the man behind it all. He's calm, calculating, compassionate, and completely in control of his mind. He doesn't need witnesses to live with purpose. His greatness exists in private moments, the hours of reflection, the quiet work, the inner battles no one ever sees. While others build their image in public, the Sigma builds his soul in private. That's why he seems mysterious, even mythical. Because what people see is just a fraction of the man he truly is when no one's watching. And that's the hidden truth, Sigma males don't live to impress the world, they live to master themselves.